I hear the ticking of the clock.
Tick tock on the clock. Tick tock, you don't stop. To the tick tock, you don't stop. It's Doomsday Clock.
Hey, Kaiser here with Total Geek Live on our 11th Doomsday Clock retrospective. It
Good
finally
Lord.
dropped.
It's been
Right
50 years, whatever.
Yeah.
now, it's been so long, you might have to remind me what happened before this issue.
You say that because this whole comic, I'm so grateful for the recap that Osmandius did of the whole plot because I'd forgotten.
Right.
Basically,
Didn't realize it
that's
to
the
the
issue,
point
though.
where
That was the entire issue. Right.
Exactly. So we're gonna just dive right in, and you're exactly right. This issue of the Doomsday Clock is the scene of the movie where the villain says his plot. Who not expedite. He exfoliates. No, he doesn't exfoliate. What's the
Is
Monologue,
Expedition
exposition.
monologues? Yeah,
monologue? He
monologues. This
monologues
is the
and yeah.
villain monologue issue.
Yeah, this is
And
Batman and Robin tied to the clock, and
Hmm.
whoever that was in that episode where he's telling him the diabolical plan that he's going to do. Yeah.
he hasn't reenacted this whole plan like several minutes ago. I'm going to be so disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've missed the point.
True.
Lordy
So,
Lord.
so with me, we kind of jumped in it, but
Well,
we got Danny, Guy, Baltimore, and myself, Kaiser. Total Geek Live. We're discussing Doomsday Clock. We're already in the thick of it. This one, unlike the others, isn't as it wasn't as deep. It wasn't as oniony as um,
Yeah, there were layers.
yeah. There were some, but the subtext or the oh shit, the oh my god, that's not really here. This is really just the explanation of everything you've read up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Everything Ozymandias was behind it all. Big surprise. He set it all up. He did exactly what he did in The Watchmen. He put the events in motion to have his plan play out.
Absolutely, he did.
Upon plans.
yep.
Exactly.
And I guess you could say, well, and there was one surprise, at least for me, with Saturn Girl in particular.
Yeah.
That was a sad surprise. Um,
Under Marty McFly.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, she did not get her parents back together, so sadly she vanished from the picture.
No enchantment under the sea for her.
yeah,
No.
yeah. That was the one real surprise from this. Otherwise, I was disappointed with this issue. It
I can see that.
it all after all of this build up and stuff, I didn't really get any of the whole what I expected more of the Joker with the mime and marionette, and very very little Batman. It really and here's a going back to why I didn't like the movie. I think it was Man of Steel, the Superman movie, because Lex Luthor just tried a, a plot again where he was doing the whole land, gonna own a bunch of
That was
land thing.
Superman. Superman
Oh, that's
Returns.
Superman Returns. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So that's why I couldn't stand that one. It was because Lex is just falling back on a previous plan that he had tried, and that's what this feels like to me. Osmandius is instead of using nuclear weapons, he's using metahumans.
Mm-hmm.
But the the way he is going about doing it and what he's doing seems like a Watchmen rehash to me.
I mean, there's certainly a lot of parallels to the original Watchmen series that are happening. And yeah, I think Guy, you said if this turns out to be a I did this 35 minutes ago situation, I am going to be a little uh, not too happy. Uh, but there are parts of this that yes, this does feel like a very recap issue, and all we're kind of waiting for is Superman versus Doctor Manhattan. Like that's what we're waiting for, and now that's going to be the 12th issue. It's like we've been waiting, and we're still waiting for this big battle to happen, and I've pretty much enjoyed the ride so far, but I feel like there are a lots of wow, they really needed a couple more pages to fill this out to actually make the impact it should. Like Wonder Woman in the UN battle, like
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot more that could have been happening there. They dropped he got off the board all the heroes in Mars. Like, what's going on there? Like,
Right.
how are they going to get back? So it's interesting to see what he's doing, but I kind of wonder if it's going to pay off the way that they're hoping it will.
I think this is not going to live up to expectations because of the hype and the build-up and the endless 2 years. At this point, I'm hoping for just merely okay for next issue because I just don't feel like up and hype and everything works out okay as far as the story goes. But I just feel like the momentum's been lost.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the end, it's going to be the journey that was the exciting part, not the destination with this series. They're going to fight. It'll be cool. Hopefully, there will be an epiphany or some unbefore said statement or reality or just some perception that it evokes that makes you stop and think. I'm hoping for that.
Right.
We might just get a cool fight. We might not get a fight at all. It might just go boom and be like 12, like 20 pages of black.
And
Long
that's
discussion.
what's taking so long, you guys.
Which would kind of be, it'd be like, I'm pissed, but like, it would, people would talk.
Right.
I think that's what it's going to be. I think they're just going to talk. I think they're just going to have a long conversation, hopefully some insightful nuggets, and then they'll probably shake hands and walk away, or just walk away.
They'll exchange emails, keep in touch.
Each other on Facebook.
Superman maybe like crochet a
Friendship bracelet.
no a sling for him to Dr. Manhattan to wear around his crotch area.
All that junk.
A banana hammock maybe
Oh my
crocheted
A
something.
sling. A sling?
Has a little Superman S on it.
Yeah, something.
Guess we're not monetizing this video.
I didn't say anything like I didn't use any of the words that I'm only insinuating.
Yeah.
Banana?
I
Yeah.
want to get in a hammock.
Yeah.
I think there's so much that has to pay off in this 12th issue that I really don't know if we're going to get that. They've tied Superman to being the metaverse. Like, he is the thread to the entire metaverse, and we see the ripples to that. We've seen how Dr. Manhattan, is fixated on Superman and his origins, and we saw it play out with the Crisis. We've seen it play out with Rebirth, with the other revamp that they did, and each time it's all due to Superman's influence. We don't quite understand where they're going with this, but you tug at this string long enough, what else is going to go away the way of Marty McFly's Saturn Girl?
Right.
Right. What other characters are going to vanish from the BC lexicon for whatever, however long they want to carry this until they reboot again? Are we still in Rebirth? Is it transitioned
I know,
into
yes. We're still in Rebirth right now.
Okay.
From this issue, it looks like much figured out the origins of Rebirth. I mean, that photo that he keeps finding throughout time, he's been collecting all that, and that's like his big thing. You see smart character right there.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting little tidbit of how like Lex is trying to piece things together.
Not even Superman and the Flash could figure it out back with the Button series a couple years back.
Right, yeah. So how is this tying into the greater DC narrative that's happening? I know they were saying the end of this is supposed to tie in, but of course that ending was supposed to be a year and a half ago.
Right, so is every other comic extended for another year, their storylines waiting for this to wrap up, or has everything wrapped up already in all the rest of the universe? That's a good question, because I don't have the time to read everything. I'd like to, so I have no idea. And
Right.
if you're
entire
watching,
line of published comics on hold for this one series to wrap itself up, so we can do the big story reveal. It's like, they have a picnic. Like something, anything, just fill in some space.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more going on with some of the characters than we are getting the information to. I mean, now we finally know a lot more about the Mime and Marionette's kid, which is interesting and fascinating. We're all in spoilers, right? We're like,
Yeah.
these are all spoilers. We
yeah.
never do a spoiler, non-spoiler for these.
Okay.
So.
It's been so long.
I know. It has.
But I thought it was very fascinating. Dr. Manhattan didn't kill Marionette because he knew she was pregnant. But it wasn't the fact that she was pregnant. It was the fact that the child was supposed to be somebody.
Right.
And the child is now adopted by Night Owl and Silver Spectre, hiding out in their civilian identities after faking their deaths.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very fascinating. Like, how did the child end up there? Was John a part of that as well? Or,
Right.
And then she's pregnant again. So what about that kid? Wow.
And is any part of this payoff who the kid's supposed to be?
I've heard some theories that it's supposed to be Ozymandias, or it's supposed to be John, or Lex Luthor. Like, it's kind of like, how do you even know anymore?
As long as it's not Superman.
Right.
The child the child you see is blonde, so it kind of hopefully knocks out Man of Steel.
Yeah. Silk Spectre and Night Owl went blonde, so they just went on full on for the baby as well. They just want to keep a theme.
Yeah.
And that family bleach kit for families on the run that they sell at the Kmart.
Right.
Family that bleaches together, teaches together. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
There you go.
But is the Watchmen original world, is that gone? Is it because they escaped with the nuclear explosions, and that's how they accelerated to DC, right? The DC universe. So does
not gone, but it's definitely the society is in ruin.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's just hellfire and chaos.
Because Ozymandias' whole thing is he's trying to save both worlds. So how is his plan?
Yeah, like, is it supposed to reboot his world by saving? Does he think having them fight's gonna cause another reboot? The next Rebirth, the next New 52, the next whatever of the DC universe? Is their
Looks
fight?
like that's what it might be doing, right?
Right.
Kind of how the urgency is right now.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
In 3 years.
I don't know what he's planning. I don't know what he's planning, but I'm really surprised how they've played it out this way instead of giving us. I thought 11 was going to be like the big one, and then 12 was going to be like the denouement, the
You
aftermath
thought
kind of.
11 was going to be the big fight, the
Mhm.
big action
Right.
scene.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Which would make sense, structurally.
Right.
So it's weird. It feel like there should be 2 issues after this.
Exactly. I think this should be a
this is
baker's
the
dozen, and it's
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, like I feel like next issue has to be oversized just to warrant, everything wrapping up.
Right.
I don't
I
know.
wonder if there's going to be a spoiler just with the back cover, because for the longest time, or the course of the last few issues, it's like you've seen the clock with the Superman logo right here, and it looks like what I always thought was blood, the Superman yellow logo on the back of Clark's.
Oh, it's
Wondering
his
if this
cape.
is
It's his cape, yeah.
basically saying that whatever happens, Superman's going to prevail. And now I'm getting that message at the, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or his cape was the only thing left of him after he was obliterated.
That thing with Doomsday. Oh,
Yeah.
the other Doomsday. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, the other Doomsday.
The loose capes.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the reveal of Babastus was interesting. that he was the power source.
Oh yeah, for when Firestorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That means that cat has some type of quantum power entanglement
with
thing.
Dr. Manhattan,
Right.
because didn't they were both sacrificed in Watchmen, right? In that
Yes.
field.
In that field
Yeah.
thing, yeah. And so
So
because of that, so maybe he's like a flirkin to Dr. Manhattan.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Ours merged in from the clone DNA sort of thing.
And mirror it out, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they continue with any kind of tie with that or not.
Yeah. I feel like this sort of Doomsday Clock, don't read a lot of DC comics to know the state of the universe, the realm. But this comic has felt and does feel like it's kind of an Elseworlds type of story,
Mm-hmm.
because the things that are happening, the way that they're ramping things up with Black Adam and the Amazons, I'm not sure how you kind of go back to, everything's hunky-dory after this.
Right.
Especially, the Russians and Firestorm and Pozar and Mars, and I'm not sure how it easily smooths over to, the next story.
It's going to make the next issue really difficult, because if they throw in this one last minute little thing, this little what a twist, and then it go with this for this last minute thing, I'm not going to like that. But then if it, like, after all this they go back to the status quo is the same, I'm not going to be happy with that either. So it's like sort of resolution I'm personally looking for from this, because it's just I'm interested and I want to see this all the way through, but I just feel like some of the momentum is lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't really feel the sense of like, oh, here it comes that I thought I would at the end of, and that was.
I think part of that's just the time between the issues.
Quite possibly,
I think that's feeding into it. It's like when we were getting a month to month, or at least every other month, it was like, okay,
Right. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, what's next? What's next? Oh, who's this? Who's it? Oh, that just happened. Oh, and then it was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I see what they're doing. Oh, that's kind of cool. And then now it's just like, just let's get to the end.
Yeah.
Got a press release next week. DC cancels Doomsday Clock series. Throw a
DC
chair.
files for bankruptcy. All comics discontinued.
Warner Brothers.
Oh man.
Like we talked about, Kaiser. Disney will buy Warner Brothers before it's all over.
Exactly. That's issue 12. That's why that's why they've
Did
been
you just do the Mickey Mouse
stringing.
thing? Yeah.
So it hasn't been strung out because they were taking time writing it. They were forced by the overlords to stretch it out
Right.
to write in Mickey Mouse in the very last panel.
Right.
Deal closes with their lawyers.
Yeah.
The circle and 2 dots on Manhattan's head turns into 3 circles.
Yep, 3 circles there. And he's just dragging Superman by the cape.
Yeah.
Towards the cat.
Doomsday Clock or the last Star Wars movie is going to end up with Disney buying Warner Brothers. It's one of the two.
One of
so
those,
I've
right.
got to play the bets.
What I do have to say that the art is really beautiful and amazing, and I think the detail and the level of concern and what they put into it, I think is really great. But what I also do really love about this is the way they decide to place the thought bubbles or the speech bubbles are very, very carefully and meticulously placed. Like particularly on page 8, when you have a picture of Ozymandias and the bubble is saying, "This world needs a hero." And he, in his head, is being the hero. He's doing the hard thing and the choices to make the world better. But
Right.
we don't see him as the hero. So I think it's really fascinating the way they've chose to, use the words to have another layer to the story.
Yeah.
And then I thought
Now,
the sequence with Reggie as Rorschach was interesting.
His whole backstory was a lie.
Huh?
Backstory was a lie where he thought his dad and Rorschach were. Nope, not at all.
Yep.
Not at all.
We pointed out the art. One thing I noticed in this, it seems like the art style is bleeding into more DC and less Watchmen. Did you get that feeling? Because it was very Watchmen.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Right.
And the panel layouts and everything, the layout's still very Watchmen, but the art itself, a little more detail, a little more shadow, a little more colors, a little more modern touches. It looks like it's they're like in the DC universe and not in the Watchmen universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how they're doing that just with the art, that you know which world you're in.
Yeah.
Just by the quality of the art. Not
That's
that the other quality, maybe quality, but the style of.
Yeah. No, that's a very fascinating point, and I hadn't thought about it in that kind of way, but yeah.
Yep. It's very, very, very cool. I think it's an interesting treatment. It harkens back, reminds me of how like Into the Spider-Verse and how that kind of played out. Just more of a long run type of thing, but I like how it was executed.
Yeah.
So. But I didn't like this
Word
issue.
as to when issue 12 will come out yet, or is that just presumptuous?
I'm hearing November.
Why don't we wait till Christmas? I'm sure.
Yeah.
What happened between issue 11 and 12?
Yeah, I'm hearing November, but who knows? We could be going on year 3 for this thing. Right.
I've got $5 on December.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Before Christmas?
Well, yeah, it'd have to be before Christmas.
Does it?
This is something I didn't catch until now. When Saturn Girl disappears, and the other one who did Green Lantern.
Johnny's in the next cell, yeah.
And he says, "Quit crying, old man. You're from the past, and the past won't be erased. It's the future that's being erased."
Right.
That's why Saturn Girl went away. So I think that's kind of a thing to think about and keep in your mind whenever 12 comes.
Right, because yeah, Saturn Girl is from the future, so whatever future she's from will no longer exist.
Yeah, that timeline got wiped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which harkens back to the Legionnaire ring when John goes to the future, and then it goes away.
Right.
So I guess we're all getting that.
Yeah, no
Everything
Legionnaire.
connected. Yeah.
Is it because there's no world there, or what? Ah, come on, December.
Too much speculation. Come on, December.
So let's do a round table of how you think it will end.
Okay.
So, Guy, you're in the upper left corner, right? It's been a while.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
It's been a while, just like the last issue. I don't really see them going to blows. I just don't characters doing that. I think they will have a long philosophical discussion that will history of both their worlds and how, despite their differences, they're essentially the same. The whole cheesy shaking hands and walking away, but I think they'll be walking away with some element of each world in the other. That's side.
Okay.
It won't be as impactful as we hoped, but it will have some sort of change. At least I'd hope, anyway.
Right.
I mean, this has to lead to something else, so it makes me really wonder how they're going to wrap it up and still move the story forward. Because now a lot of people have gotten connected to Mime and Marionette, and you know, these new characters. You know, what happens next to them. I do think there has to be some sort of fight between Superman and Dr. Manhattan. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't think it could be 20 pages of fight, but there does have to be some sort of like full on something to kind of merit the 11 issues that it comes up to, because every issue or every issue that we do get with Superman and Dr. Manhattan alluded to, it's he never sees behind the next moment. So something cataclysmic is going to have to happen. And I don't know if it's going to stick the landing. I'm hopeful for it. But at what, 20 something pages, I'm not sure they can, you know, sell it satisfactorily.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think maybe. You know, I think Superman's gonna hit Dr. Manhattan so hard it knocks the blue off of him.
Okay.
makes him human again. Just knocks all the super out of him. That's why he can't see, because he no longer has the power after that point.
Ah.
Because Superboy Prime in the past has punched holes in reality, so if Superboy Prime could do that, Superman can hit Dr. Manhattan so hard it knocks the power out of him.
That's a good point.
Blue out of you. Sounds like a soap jingle commercial.
Gonna knock that blue
out of you.
Gonna knock that
blue right out of you.
It may not be that exactly, but I think something along the lines of Manhattan losing his powers from their confrontation to some extent. Because I doubt they'll kill him off, but I think the reason he can no longer see past that point, because it's all about him reading the tachyons in the air, and that's how he sees.
Right.
So if those tachyons are removed, or his ability to sense them anymore, that would be my.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
And you're thinking a show-stopping musical, aren't you?
I'm actually thinking that what's going to happen is that Dr. Manhattan and Superman meet right there on the street, and Ozymandias shows up, and all three of them turn around and see that Downton Abbey, the movie, is playing, And so they go in together, all three of them, and they watch Downton Abbey, the movie, and based on the content and themes during the film, they come to a resolution using aspects from the movie. And then at the end of it, they wash their hands from the greasy popcorn and throw their trash away and go about their business.
Thing is key, folks.
Is there a Downton Abbey movie? Because
Yes,
I still haven't
there is.
finished the. Okay, I haven't finished the last season, so damn it, I need to finish the last season of Downton Abbey.
They
It,
have Downtown Abbey watching parties.
it
and
comes out the 20th. So
and it's good.
So Downton Abbey saves the world, huh?
well, I mean, it might be Lord Grantham. It definitely is not going to be Lady Mary. But
Don't say why it's definitely not her because
I'm not saying
the
why.
season yet.
I'm just saying because she's a bitch. That's all.
Oh.
You know, it's it might even be I don't know, the cook or something.
It was the butler.
The library with the candlestick.
Yeah, with a candlestick and stuff. I mean, so.
Obviously, we have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah.
It's been a long ride. I am excited to see how they end it. The journey so far has been entertaining. I'm glad we've done this journey together.
Yeah.
I am very curious to see how we all come together at the end and what our thoughts are. And I know, Danny, you don't like this issue just because it's just there. It's not great like the other ones have been. It's not like a bad comic book issue.
Right.
Wow.
It's just expectations now are at a high. So whose fault is that? Is that our fault for expecting too much out of mere mortals?
But
Or
the
did
story
they
of the
fail
schedule.
us? And anyway, tell us what you think. Have you been reading Doomsday Clock? What are your theories? How do you think it's going to end? Hit us down below in the comments. Hit us at Total Geek Live at Twitter, on Facebook, on Patreon, on Instagram. I think if there's something that you put it at Total Geek Live, you'll find us.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Next time, as Danny leads the Rock'em Sock'em conclusion of Doomsday Clock number 12.
That's right, man. I get to lead the last one. Wow.
Same Doom channel.
and on that note, it's all geek to us. Bye.
And that just got weird.
Bye, y'all.
I hear the ticking of the clock.
Tick tock on the clock. Tick